Hello everyone, my name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music as a musician myself. This is a request for Fissy on Patreon. Final Fantasy XIV, never heard of it. Just kidding. This is a song called Embers, or the Abyssos 8th Circle theme. I don't know. Sure, there's a lot of names here. But I'm seeing this, which I'm guessing is a boss. Usually I do boss teams. Like the most edgelord character I've ever seen in my life. So, and I don't know who composes it. I'm assuming Soken. I don't know. It's been a while. But I think this is one of the newer songs from 14. So that's exciting. Let's go. It's kind of a big of a loop. So I'm going to, get familiar with it. Thanks to Uvi for the video. Let's go. Final Fantasy XIV, Embers. Definitely a boss. Whoa. It's too early to say anything, but I really like the drums. Oh, is this instrumental? I'm not gonna lie, I actually really prefer the instrumental song in 14. But we'll see. Ooh. I got a little shivery on that one. I feel like we're gonna hear this a lot over the next 9 minutes, but that's okay. I get to just get lost in it. That bass line is going crazy. Well, it stopped, but... Oh, I just remembered something. Ooh. I've been thinking against vocals, it's just... 14 stuff really shines instrumental. But when you have little dashes of vocal like that, that's really nice. Wow. Yeah, dude, this is... Oh. This is fantastic. This song has what I like to call, like, an identity crisis. This is good. Dude, the snare of the drum kit is immaculate. Try to ignore everything but the snare drum for like 10 seconds. It sounds so... Oh, the cymbal. I really love the drums in this. Honestly, this may sound weird, but it kind of sounds like a b-boy beat, a break beat, like breakdancers. The music not so much, but the beat. So progressive. Kind of. There's not a lot of shift in like moods. The drums kind of stay one groove. It's everything around it that's progressive. This song is really fun for people that really like to decipher songs and try to find everything going on in it. There's so much going on. Like, oh, here's that. Oh, here's this. I heard a tom roll very faintly. Okay, yeah, this is a loop. This is cool. Not, of course, because of the piano, but the guitar in the background. It's basically a funk rhythm with distortion on it. That is the only time the drums switch. Halftime feel. And then back already. Yeah. Oh my, such a short phase. It's so short that it stands out so hard. So you look forward to it every time. Got a loop or two left. Honestly, it kind of goes with this whole like edgelord look. If I imagine someone with demon legs and chains, I'd imagine this. Of course, we get to finally talk about the guitars 7 minutes later. Those are strummed octave chords. Very simple, but effective. Two guitars. You hear this one? Oh, okay. That was cool. They were like slightly off time. This is crazy. Ooh, the keyboard in the background? It's a lot of sound, dude. Oh yeah, the choir. I wish the bass was louder though, to be honest, because it's so good. Oh wait, the drums start to change here. Kick, 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 and then the halftime. Oh, okay. 2 measures. Then the guitar goes into like a reggae thing. Dun, dun, dun. There's so much going on. Well, that ended abruptly. Man, I was like still finding stuff up until the last second. Okay, well, I'm not gonna talk about every single thing we heard because there's just so much. But you know that was good because it flew by for me. That was 10 minutes basically. Felt like 3 or something. You know what's funny is I'm not even kidding. I was originally gonna ask the requester for a shorter version, just because loops can be hit or miss. If a loop is too long, I get the idea, and then it starts to go like I start to not lose interest, but I start to kind of just like it starts to stagnate, I guess. So I'm glad I I didn't, because this is what they originally sent me. Okay, wow. Something that I never really noticed or paid attention to until now, I guess, is... Oh man, how do I say this? I'm a huge fan of instrumental music. You know, everything everything I've written has been instrumental. Instrumental music is just its own type of... I don't want to say it's underappreciated, but it's just not everywhere. Right, you have to kind of go out of your way to find instrumental stuff or even remixes of songs. And there's nothing wrong with vocals per se. It's just it tells its own story without even saying anything verbally, you know. So you can it's like a painting to me when I hear instrumental stuff. So I've always favored it. And then as I was hearing this, I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I listen to a lot of 14 stuff with vocals, a lot, and totally fine. But now that I think about it, I don't know, I guess I just prefer the ones that don't have vocals. Not all of them, of course. Some are really cool. I remember there was an unbending steel, right? Like you can't imagine that without it, type of thing. You know, there's exceptions. I'm just saying, I'm really glad this did not have any, if that makes any sense. For example, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but I have 2 favorite 14 songs, and that's Answers and Wrath of the Harrier. So if you've heard Wrath of the Harrier, you can probably know where I'm going to go with this one, because they felt almost like brothers as far as sound and, you know, instrumental, and the vibe I got. It was cool. It had that spooky kind of feel as well. So immediately I was just like grabbing onto the music. I'm like, because it allowed it to breathe, and I can hear all these little things. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think overall, I would say I prefer the 14 music without vocals, but not to take away from anything with vocals. But when it comes to stuff like this, with all these sounds and all these things going on, I would prefer that it would just be left open. But that's just me. So more instrumentals. One thing I want to say before I even go on is that this requester sent me both phases. I guess this is phase 1 of this fight. I wasn't going to do them in the same video because that's a separate song. So that one's coming very, very soon as well. Phase 2, which I'm very curious about now, because if that was phase 1. So just so you know, that's coming very soon. This one had, you know, for the drums being, for lack of a better word, extremely repetitive, they were really, really good. They didn't really change ever until that last part of the loop. When the piano starts to kick in, then it goes into like this kind of kick, 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 and it's kind of like building, 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 and then it goes into this halftime groove for just a tiny little while, and then we're back into that boom, cat, cat, boom, cat. And I get, you know why I didn't get stale is because of the sound of the drums. They were mixed really nice. Kind of reminded me of like a garage band or something, really raw and, you know, organic, just aggression type of thing. I loved that snare. I love that snare sound. On top of that, I mentioned that it sounded like a breakbeat or a b-boy beat. I think I've only said that like one time on this channel ever before, and it was the first time I heard Persona actually. Same thing, you know. If you're into that culture or know that culture, of breakdancing, b-boys, and all that. They dance to a certain type of music, obviously, and it's the songs with breaks in it, and that's kind of reminiscent of what we heard here. Like if you took away every single thing of this song, I'd be very curious to see what this would look like. To be honest, maybe someone can make a video at it. But if you took away everything, stripped it all, and just started with drums, you know, a b-boy or a breakdancer would start moving to it. And then you just add all these. I'd be very curious to like if they would continue feeling the groove with all those other extra layers. So basically what I'm trying to say is I want to see someone dance to this. But yeah, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of drum and bass, but drum and bass I think of a little quicker. But the same kind of beat was also there. Speaking of bass, I would say that was my only complaint, which is weird because I usually don't have complaints with 14, but 14 bass is really good, but sometimes you hear it, sometimes you don't. In this one, you kind of have to like go out of your way. You have to have headphones on and maybe have like your low end up, something like that. You know what I mean? If you heard it, or if you're in your car. But if you heard it like on speakers or maybe just in game, especially with everything going around, you know, I don't hear it with sounds. I can't even imagine how many sounds of explosions and stuff are going on. So I feel like it would get drowned out. That's another thing I never thought of until right now. I just thought of that as well. Every fight or every like boss fight or anything I get, there's probably hundreds of sound effects going on. You know, clings and clangs and all that. Man. Actually, for most of you probably, that probably enhances it quite a bit. Hearing this, feeling that, doing this, you know, all that. It's just obviously the whole package of context, blah, blah, blah. But to me, the song it's incredible on its own. But anyways, I feel like the bass would just get like completely washed away with all of that because I barely heard it and I'm listening to it directly. So that kind of sucks. I'm guessing this is a boss fight since yeah. But it really fit to the character. You know, I said it was like kind of like a joke, like this edgelord kind of thing. And the music fit, actually. It had this kind of overall spooky feel, which again reminded me of Wrath of the Harrier, kind of like a Halloween type song. Yeah, I pretty much got that. And then of course when the little tiny choir part came in, that also kind of like, you know, cemented that thought that this is kind of like, ooh, you know, evil, don't want to be here type of thing. But one thing that is interesting, which kind of goes with what I'm about to segue into, is I wonder if this character, this might be a total long shot, but I wonder if this character has some sort of like dual identity or misunderstanding or something like that. I don't know if there's a lot of backstory with these bosses. Because when that piano shift comes in, it's usually for a reason. It's a storytelling device. So yeah, you know, the beat changes and the piano comes in, but it sounds like it's trying to say something. Like otherwise, why put it in there to just randomly put a piano? I mean, I guess you could do that too. There's no rules. But I really kept thinking, I'm like, this sounds like some sort of conflict like internal conflict, and that's because it's out of nowhere. You know, there's keyboard in the song, but then the piano comes in. But what's weird about it is that like it's basically the energy of the song stays, and it's kind of like two-dimensional, sure. But the piano's like on top of it, but not really necessarily like in the song. Does that make sense? It's kind of like isolated until the halftime beat comes in, and then it kind of like comes together. So there's a lot of complexity in this, which again is why I'm glad it's instrumental. That's kind of all I got. It's just more of me just kind of vibing out to the song, and it just really reminded me of Wrath, which again is my favorite song. So it's a huge honor. Embers. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Obviously it's fire related. There's fire everywhere. Very it reminded me of like older God of War games, especially the background and I don't know, not the music, but I'm sure you will all tell me what's going on, who the boss is. I think I saw the name at the beginning, which was, let's see. It was, yeah, right here. Perfect Imperfection. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's another title. Hephaestus? Huh. See, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know what that means, right? Because the song's name is Embers. And then the Abyss, 8th circle, I'm guessing is the area. And then this part right here, do bosses just have like titles? So I'm guessing the boss is Hephaestus. And then Perfect Imperfection might be just like a title or something, like a sub name. Which, if it's true, that would go hand in hand with the identity thing I said. Perfect Imperfection. I don't know. I'm thinking too much. This is what 14 does to me. This video's already 20 minutes. I gotta stop. But let me know. I really enjoyed it though. It's been a while since I've heard some instrumental 14 stuff, at least that I can remember off the top of my head. But it's really cool. I can't wait to phase 2. It's not going to be right after this. It's going to be probably like in a week from now. But very curious. And let me know who composed it, because I don't know. Actually, that's a good question, because apparently Wrath of the Harrier wasn't even Soken. So it's funny because my favorite 2 Soken songs, my favorite 2 14 songs aren't even Soken. It's Nobuo and I don't remember his name. I don't know if it's Hamzu or not. Whoever did Wrath of the Harrier. So now I'm very curious to see who did this one, because I feel like Soken deserves a spot up there somewhere. But this is great. Awesome. And it still managed to stick out in a sea of 14 stuff I've done. Cool. Has my approval. If you want to make a request to me as well, you could do so on Patreon or PayPal. Either are totally fine if you don't mind waiting. If you do not want to wait, there is the Platinum tier on Patreon, which I provide. And can't even talk. It essentially skips the line. A big thank you to Fissy for doing just that. And a shout out to my other Platinum members, Kevin, Patrick, Shadow Maxim, Vanadel, Kalanin, Gardelane, DJ Singletone, Musha Mary, Jordan, and of course Fissy. Thanks to you for watching, 14 community, and everyone who else watches. Thanks to all my supporters. Thanks to everyone. My name is Jesse. Long live VGM. This has been the Auditorium. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.